Ethan Walker had everything a man could ask for: wealth, success, and influence. He owned a thriving tech company, lived in a luxurious penthouse in the city, and had a calendar packed with meetings, deals, and business trips. But the one thing he never seemed to have was time. From sunrise to midnight, Ethan worked relentlessly. He believed that time was money, and he refused to waste a second on anything that didn't contribute to his growing empire. His father, James Walker, a retired schoolteacher, had always tried to remind him to slow down, to appreciate the little moments in life. "Ethan, life is more than just work," James would say during their brief phone calls. "Dad, I have to work hard now so I can enjoy life later before it's too late," Ethan would always reply, his voice rushed, distracted. His father would pause before replying, "Just make sure later doesn't come too late." Ethan never paid much attention to those words. In his mind, before it's too late was for him to be busy. One evening, as Ethan sat in his office working, his assistant Claire knocked on the door. "Sir, this arrived for you earlier today." "Come this way," Ethan said. She presented him a small, neatly wrapped box. "Who's it from?" Ethan asked, barely looking up from his laptop. "Your father." Ethan sighed. Another one of his father's sentimental gifts. His father had a habit of giving Ethan small, thoughtful presents. Books about philosophy, handwritten letters filled with wisdom, or little trinkets meant to remind him to enjoy life. Ethan unwrapped the package and found an old wooden hourglass inside. It was beautifully crafted, its frame polished and smooth, and inside golden sand trickled steadily from the top chamber to the bottom. Curious, he picked up the note tucked inside. "Son, I know you're always busy, so I won't take much of your time. This hourglass is special. Every grain of sand that falls represents a moment in your life, one you can never get back. I hope you'll remember that time isn't just for earning, but for living. I love you. Dad." Ethan chuckled. "Nice metaphor, Dad." He placed the hourglass on his desk and continued working, dismissing it as just another one of his father's symbolic gestures. Weeks passed. The hourglass sat untouched on Ethan's desk, gathering dust. His life remained the same: endless meetings, deadlines, and deals. One evening, as he was finalizing a multi-million-dollar business deal, his phone buzzed. It was his father. Ethan hesitated. He hadn't spoken to him in a few weeks. Should he answer? He glanced at the time. He was already late for a video conference with some investors. With a sigh, he pressed decline. He'd call him later. He never did. The next morning, Ethan was woken by a call from an unfamiliar number. He answered groggily. "Mr. Walker," an unfamiliar voice asked. "Yes?" "I'm calling from St. Mary's Hospital. I'm very sorry to inform you that your father, James Walker, passed away in his sleep last night." Ethan felt his stomach drop. "No, that's not possible. I just spoke to him. I was going to." His voice trailed off. But it was too late. The deal he had finalized the night before suddenly felt meaningless. The money, the success, none of it mattered. It immediately dawned on him, no amount of wealth could buy back time. Before it's too late, utilize it wisely. That night, Ethan, overwhelmed by his father's sudden passing on, remembered the last gift his father had sent him. He then called on his driver to take him to the office. When they arrived, Ethan sat on his chair and began staring at the hourglass. For the first time, he truly watched the sand fall. One grain at a time, tick dot tick dot tick. It hit him. His father's life had ended while he was too busy chasing things that would never love him back. He picked up the hourglass and turned it over, watching as the sand started trickling again. This hourglass had always been counting down, not just for his father, but for him, for everyone. His entire life, he had treated time as something infinite, something he could always make up for later. But now he realized the truth. Time doesn't wait. Ethan began crying profusely. He wept uncontrollably while saying, "Before it's too late, value every moment." Ethan remained in his office, downtrodden, all through the night. The next morning, he did something he hadn't done in years. He cleared his schedule. He then asked his driver to take him to his father's house. When they got there, he met family members and friends sobbing. After greeting a couple of them, he decided to go to his father's room. As he entered, he felt the silence and emptiness. Then he sat on his father's bed, surrounded by the books his father used to read, the old records he used to play. He picked up a framed picture of the two of them from years ago, back when he still made time for family. As he looked at the picture, Ethan began to weep again. He said to himself, "Before it's too late, that's why my father sent me the hourglass." He continued to mutter, saying, "The one gift you can never get back." I allowed time to slip away and did not value every moment as I should have. Over the next few weeks, Ethan changed. He stepped away from work, not abandoning it completely, but was balancing it. He spent more time with his mother and reconnected with old friends. One day, as he was visiting his mother, he found an old notebook in his father's study. Inside, in his father's handwriting, was a single passage underlined in red ink. "We do not remember days, we remember moments." This struck Ethan deeply. He stood there for a while crying and thinking about those words, and would mutter, "Before it's too late, value every moment." Later on, he left for his house, and that night, he stood on his balcony, watching the beautiful scenery, and held the last gift his father sent him again, the hourglass, and turned it over once more. This time, he didn't see it as a countdown. He saw it as a reminder that time is not just for making a living, it's for making a life. So before you say, "I will do it later," ask yourself, what if later never comes? Because in the end, the greatest gift we have isn't money, power, or success. It's time and how we choose to spend it. Thanks for watching. Kindly hit the like button, subscribe for more beautiful and inspiring stories, and drop a comment below on what you learned from this story.